Good afternoon, everyone. Princess Etch here. Today I am going to teach a simple tutorial in how to draw a house that looks like this on Etch A Sketch. This is a very good starter thing to draw, and it's an excellent introduction to diagonals, which is a tricky concept for most who have very little experience with Etch A Sketch. So, without further ado, allow us to begin. So with your blank Etch A Sketch screen, the first thing you're going to want to do is find your way toward the bottom. Your stylus could be starting really anywhere on the Etch A Sketch, so the first task is in getting the stylus inside of the Etch A Sketch to where you want to go. And maybe I want to go right around here. Once you find your spot that you're happy with, you then shake the Etch A Sketch. I find that shaking it upside down is best. And then you place the Etch A Sketch back where you want to put it, and where you left off last is where you're going to now begin. So now we know that our stylus is down here near the bottom left of where the foundation of our home is going to be. So with our first line, we are going to create the base of the house. And to accomplish that, you're going to turn the left knob, which creates horizontal lines, as you can see from the helpful icons above, and you're going to turn that toward the right, or clockwise, just like so. All right, so we have created the foundation for our house, and I'm just going back and forth. You can see the little spot inside is the stylus retracing that horizontal line back and forth. All right, so let's bring the stylus back to the left part of our foundation, and we will now create the left wall of the house. So to do that, we need to go vertically, which means that we need to turn the right knob north, which means we need to turn it toward the right or clockwise. And this isn't a race. You could take all the time you need. And there. Once you get to this part, we're going to create the top of the box that comprises the bottom half of the house, and we're going to turn the left knob toward the right, or clockwise. So now I'm doing my best to try to make the length of this line as equal as I can to the length of this line. And it's okay if you don't get it right the first time. Sometimes you overshoot, sometimes you undershoot. Not a big deal. Once you find your line has become a satisfactory length, you will then turn the right knob toward the left, or counterclockwise, to bring that line downwards and complete your shape, thus creating a square. We will then proceed with stopping to just about this point at the foundation of our house to create the door. And the door is a simple rectangle that you can create by first turning the right knob toward the left, then you turn the left knob toward the right, and the right knob toward the left. If I said the right knob toward the left in the beginning, I meant the right knob toward the right. Okay, and you'll see the little stylus moving. I'm retracing over my line of my foundation. Now we're going to create a window for this home. So we're going to bring the line up just a smidge to right about this point here. And I'm going to create a tiny little line by turning the left knob moderately toward the left. And now we will be building a small window into this home. So I started by turning the right knob toward the left. Well, I should say toward the right. I'm sorry. And then the left knob, we're going to go left or counterclockwise. We will then go counterclockwise with the right knob, clockwise with the left knob, and finish up this window shape by turning the right knob clockwise. The more you do this, the more intuitive it will become. So now I'm going to create a little crisscross, little plus sign shape inside of my window, and by doing so, I'm using the right knob to go vertically, just like that. You'll see me going back and forth, back and forth. And then at around the center of that line, I will stop, and then I'll go back and forth with the left knob. Nice and slow. Etch A Sketch is not a race. And once you're satisfied with how that little plus sign shape looks, you'll notice I'm going back and forth a few times, help darken that line up. I'm going to retrace the shape of that window. So once I put my stylus at the point where it's on the left side of the window, I'm just going to go back and forth a few times. And then I'm going to retrace the top by going back and forth. You'll notice I'm not turning the knobs a lot at all, just a little bit at a time. And for the fourth part, there we go, back and forth, okay? And you don't have to do it as many times as I do. In fact, if you don't want to do it at all, you don't have to. I just like to retrace that so it makes it look nice and clean. So I rejoined this right wall by crossing over that little bridge I created with the small connecting line. And so now we're back on this wall, which means that we should be using the right knob. So I'm going to turn it toward the left to go down, and then toward the right to go back up. And this is probably the trickiest part of today's tutorial. We are now going to work on the roof of this house. So to create the roof, we need to create a diagonal, which means that we need to use both knobs simultaneously. So take all the time you need. Like I said, Etch A Sketch is not a race. There is no rush. We are going to slowly but surely travel from this top corner here up into the center. And we're going to go nice and slow. To do that, we need to turn both knobs away. Okay, so the left knob is going to go counterclockwise, and the right knob is going to go clockwise. Think of it as turning both knobs outwards in order to accomplish creating a diagonal that goes both north and west. All right? And you'll see that I'm turning both knobs at the same speed. I'm going nice and slow, and we'll stop right here. Okay? So knowing that to go northwest, we had to go outside, turning the knobs away, we are now going to need to go southwest. So to accomplish that, we need this knob to go to the left and this knob to go down. So to do that, we are actually going to turn both knobs the same direction, and you'll notice that they're both going counterclockwise now. And see how slowly I'm taking it? I'm turning both knobs at the same exact speed. All right? And if you didn't exactly match that corner, no worries. Not every house is perfect, and I have over 20 years of experience, so while I might make it look a little bit easy, I promise you that years of practice went into that simple gesture that you just saw. You'll notice now that even if you're not completely lined up, that's okay. You can kind of get back on track, no big deal. But once you get back to this little corner here, maybe the top left corner of the box shape of your home, we are actually going to do another advanced thing, which is adding a chimney on the right side of the house. You can make it the left if you want, but I'm going to stick to the right. So to get to this region here, we need to retrace our steps. So you guessed it, we need to use the left knob to go toward the right, just like so. Nice and slow. And soon you'll find your little stylus is hanging out in that top right corner now. So now we need to retrace our roof. And this is going to be very tricky for most, but the more you practice, the easier it will become. So if you don't exactly perfectly retrace, that's A-okay, no pressure. Our homes don't have to be perfect. So as a reminder, we're going to turn both knobs away from the inside of the Etch A Sketch toward the outside. And I'm not going to go very far up. You'll see my little stylus has parked right there, and that's A-okay. So the next thing we're going to do is turn that right knob north. So we need to turn it clockwise to create a vertical line upwards. And I'll stop right about there. Okay? So once you stop at this region here, we're going to need to turn the left knob toward the left, which is counterclockwise, to create the top of the chimney. And last but not least, we will need to turn the right knob one more time to go downward, which means we're going to turn counterclockwise to complete the shape of the chimney. And there you go, guys. A simple little house. And here's how the original one looked that I showed you today. And here's how it turned out. Now, just as a reminder, your house may not look exactly the same as the one that I just demonstrated, and that is A-okay, because while Etch A Sketch is a deceptively simple toy, it takes years and years of practice to become exceedingly comfortable with the mechanics of this toy. So I hope you followed along. I hope you had a good time. And if you find yourself frustrated with how your drawing turned out, the beautiful thing about Etch A Sketch is if you don't like what you made, you can simply shake to erase it away and start all over. All right, guys. Thanks again for following along. And if you ended up creating an Etch A Sketch house of your own, I'd love to see it. Feel free to share it with me. All right, guys. Take care and have a good day. Bye.